Feel the pain all around. Keep the love in your heart and hold your head high.
Welcome to the Let That Go show with Kassira McKee and Richard Skipper. This show is based on Kassira's book, Let That Go, where she guides people in completely blessing and releasing people, places, and all kinds of things. Kassira and Richard share personal insights and experiences based on concepts in Kassira's book, with guests and you, their co-hosts. Are you ready to let that go? Let's go.
Happy Buck Moon, everybody.
Hello, happy Buck Moon.
Hi, Buck.
Are your antlers coming out?
Well, you guys are the bucks. I'm just a deer. I'm just a little fawn. You guys are the bucks.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many things happening. It's the Capricorn moon. We're going into Aquarius tomorrow. It's an exciting time.
Things are spinning around.
How are you both doing, by the way?
I'm here. You know, I really, every time a full moon comes, I tugs at me, you know, so definitely feel it. Definitely feel it.
Now, I have to ask you, Kassira, because you are surrounded with animals. Are they responding to this full moon?
I have one of them is just consistent. The Chihuahua just doesn't care. It's my Chorky, who's a Chihuahua Yorkie, that seems to go through these phases with me. She's an Aquarius, and the Chihuahua's a Piscean.
Well, it's so funny because Benny, who you've all met, the other night, I go out every night at 9:30, and I just go out into my hot tub, and I just go out to meditate, and I'm running my lines for my upcoming show. This shameless plug, and as I'm sitting in the hot tub, Benny comes out, and he does this running through the backyard, and he jumps right into the hot tub with me.
Oh my gosh!
Something he's never done. Of course, I caught him before he got into the water, so because I saw him coming at me, and it was.
Oh my gosh!
This was Friday night, but he was just in some sounds were coming out of him. It was almost as if he was howling at the moon. We had gone
funny,
and we came back and we picked him up and we went for a ride, and he was just in some very playful, wonderful mood, and it was a joy to behold. It was just a lot of fun. And how are you, Erron? How are things going with you? You're muted.
You're muted, Erron.
He is still muted. See, it's this moon. It's doing crazy.
He was fine a minute ago. What happened?
I don't know.
He's like, I don't know.
Well, he'll get
do you have him muted, Richard?
No, I'm looking. He's not muted on my end, so it's definitely on his run. Oh. Yes, we're gonna figure it out.
We were just having a little chat, and now I don't know.
Kassira, I love the new haircut. I love the new style.
Thank you. It feels so good. I had so much hair on my head. Yep. I have a fabulous new hair cutter. She's wonderful. Her name's Cookie.
Oh, that's great. So what's
wonderful?
How is this really affecting you? Are you feeling anything with this?
Well, yeah, I am. It's funny because, I had to, of course, before every full moon, I refamiliarize myself with the moon, and I've already been following this guidance. Capricorn is all about self-discipline and following someone's potential and getting things done. And I just, as you know, had a birthday on Saturday. Yes, and I'm a Cancerian, and we Cancers are emotional, and we feel, and we go within a lot, And so I've been balancing those two things, and I notice during this Capricorn moon, I've been reflecting on where I said I desired to be and where I'm at, and just sort of making a mental list of the next steps.
Mm-hmm.
The next steps. So I'm in it. I'm in it to win it at some point. But what you can't here in the third dimension, you can't rush it. We can't rush it. We have to take third dimensional slow steps to get where we say we'd like to go. Erron, are you back?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
So
Different
it's
device.
So, Erron, we're asking the same question of you, and I've got some thoughts that I want to say about things that have been going on that are affecting all of us lately, and how we can all respond to it. But how is this Capricorn moon reflecting off of you? And I loved what you wrote to me this morning, because I took what you. I hope you don't mind. And I took
Not
that
at all.
and I put it on my YouTube channel, because I thought
cool.
because it's reflective of all of us, reflective of the moon. But how is this really resonating with you right now?
The first thing that comes to mind is accepting of our accomplishment, accepting of my personal accomplishment is not the word. Insight is not the word. It's the embodiment of all that I've become.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, look, this is you. That's distracting. Okay, look, you're here. You're using the tools. I'm using the tools. I'm using the. I'm reflecting back into useful periods in my life. That's not the right term. Supportive periods in my life, because everything's useful, everything's supportive. But there were some periods that were more. I felt more actively like an active participant. It's kind of like when Kassira would know this. When we first start chanting in the Buddhist tradition, we suddenly things change rapidly and dynamically, and it's noticeable, and we're like, wow, this is really cool. And it's part of the process of you turn the train around and get it going, and or in the words of the Abraham Hicks tradition, that you'll turn the boat around and flow downstream instead of fighting the upstream current.
Mm-hmm.
And so it all that's coming in, and it's funny because yesterday was an interesting day. I went over to help a friend. He said, can you come over and help me lift my TV off the wall? I just need to reconnect the cable and we'll put it back on the wall. And I thought, okay, maybe an hour, all right, I'll come over, we'll do that. 6 hours later, and almost getting stuck in his tiny attic crawl space where he had to reroute cables, just couldn't do the whole thing. It was so, but there were some things that I was seeing, and I saw, okay, that's not something I can do, but he jumped right into it. I'm like, you don't really want to do that. Yeah, I do. No. And then there were some other little, it's funny how sometimes you say, all you have to do is flip that little switch right there and the lights go on. Where? And they're looking all over the place except for the switch. And then I just flipped in there. How did you do that?
I know.
And I was like, well, I don't know. I can't explain it, because in that moment I was feeling not a sense of, okay, I'm smarter than, or I'm more but this stepping into myself is how I felt about that. And I thought, no, this is really interesting. And I'm reflecting. I'm kind of watching myself do this. I'm watching myself simply pull the little lever down on the TV attachment that he had been fumbling with for 10 minutes. And there's it's not a criticism of what he was doing. It's just that I saw the solution before we got to it for some reason. And I thought, well, this is really interesting. So I think this is what's happening a lot. I'm kind of.
Did you censor yourself in terms of telling him what you thought needed to be done, or did you just let it play out?
I let it play out. He fumbled with it until he gave up, and then I went and just flipped the switch, and then that we were done with it. So it wasn't a one-upmanship or anything like that. It was just okay, that's what it is. But that's also it seems to me I was respectful of his process to go through whatever he had to go through, whatever challenge physically, mentally, emotionally he was going through to get that switch to work the way he wanted it to, and it just wasn't going to happen. He didn't stand back and look at it.
Respectful. So
What's that?
I said, if you were there for 6 hours, you were more than respectful.
Yeah, and I, respected that if he got stuck in that attic space, which he did, all I could do was like poke my head up through the attic, and because there's really you could only crawl around up there, and all I could do is say, "Hey, what's going on?" Yell into the attic space. Thank God it wasn't hot yesterday, but we would have been really a mess. All I could do was yell, and when he came out finally after all those hours up there, he was covered in whatever that insulating material is, and it was not a complete job. But the respectful part and the mature part for me was that I wasn't in a space of, what are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. Get out of the way. I know what I'm doing. I didn't do any of that. Just
that
quietly.
brings up an interesting point. I saw a meme that did you both see the article that I sent you about manifestation?
I did.
I love that.
And did you get a chance to read it?
Yes.
I read what was in the body of the email. I didn't click on a link or anything, but I read the body of the email.
It really, because and thanks to Kassira, I really have been following this 369 plan. And it's been working for me, by the way. I want to let everyone know that. And in terms of the way that I'm looking at things and processing a lot of things, and it's changing the way that I am really dealing with a lot of things. But one of the things that jumped out at me in this article is thinking of ourselves as almost like radios and the frequencies and the airwaves that we send out.
That's in my book. That's in my book.
Yes, of course it is. Yes. And I have to tell you, and it's like the boomerang effect, Kassira, that I talk about all the time with you, is that, and I sent you the playlist that popped up for me today. There was a playlist of Let It Go, that someone had come up with while she's letting go of things. She's put together an entire playlist that plays while she's letting go of things in her house. And it enforces her to let go of things. But, I was thinking about this because I saw a meme today on Facebook, and it was a rather nasty meme about, and it was responding to the recent Supreme Court decision, about responding to going to a bakery and asking for a cake to be made, and, and then responding in a negative way. And I thought about this, and and I responded to this, and I said, this doesn't help any of us, because
it wasn't about the bakery. That's not what this latest thing was about.
No, but what I'm saying, if I could just finish with this,
okay.
If we go into any of these attitudes with a negative attitude, that's exactly what's going to come back to us.
Right.
And we have to let go of the negativity and see what we can do to try to get past that, and see what we can do to get, to make it work for all of us. And there's a lot of innuendo, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of things going around. And I think that we need, with everything, not just this issue, but with everything in terms of how we respond to it. If you get into your car, for example, and you go, oh my God, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late getting to this job. Well, you already know whether you're late or not before you get into the car. So if you know that you're late before you get into the car to go to an event, take that into stride and deal with the fact that you already know that you're late, and just, and accept that. I have a dear friend, David Friedman. He does this thing called the thought exchange, where we try to replace these thoughts that we are truly feeling at any given moment with something that's not really happening at that moment. And if you're not feeling well, and you say, I'm going to go to this party and pretend that I'm feeling well, you're not going to have a good time. But you have to really truly be in the moment of where you are. And I think that with all of us, it's these frequencies that we are constantly putting out in terms of how we interact with each other at any given moment. And that's my thought on all of that.
That's it. That is it. The frequency is everything, and the frequency is, and I did love that article. I read the whole thing. I love that we come into it with ours, they come into it with theirs. There's also, you know, and where we interact can distract us from who we believe ourselves to be. Now, here's the thing that just popped into my head, is that sometimes that distraction is important to get us out of, you know, we move into a situation with our intentions based on who we are right now, right? Or who we are when we made the intention 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, you know. I want to be rich. And then you find out, oh, wow, that's a lot of work, but I'm not as happy when I'm, you know, wanting to be rich as when I'm, you know, chilling with my friends and we're creating something together, which at the moment may not make a lot of money, but eventually it would get us all, it would take care of us more deeply and more richly than we could ever imagine. And that first thought of, I want to be rich, might be based on watching, what was the TV show in the 80s? Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
you know, Richard, we watched that show.
Of course.
We watched that religiously.
Champagne Dreams and Caviar something. What was it? Caviar Dreams. There's somebody's going to correct us.
Wasn't it Champagne Taste and Caviar Dreams or something like that?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Somebody will tell us, because but that went hand in hand with two other shows, and that was The Love Boat and Dynasty.
Right.
Because they were all these shows about excess. It was all about excess.
Yeah. It's good that we got to see it, but it might have distorted us a little bit. And then later in life, we realize, oh, that's a distortion that I don't need anymore. And, we can reflect and say, well, I was retreating into that fantasy when really my personal dream is creating a safe space for, say, for instance, you could, not my personal, but we might say that somebody had a they were drawn into caring for homeless or abused children or something like that, which we call noble tasks. All of these things are needed in our world. All of these things are needed. My one of my friend's moms used to say, well, there can be a millionaire, but there still has to be a ditch digger, and they all are equal in God's eyes, And so I thought, oh, okay. Nowadays, it's funny because the ditch digger is way more valuable than what we perceive as the millionaire. We really need those skilled workers, and they're just fewer and fewer as time goes on because of the fear, I guess, of being either, what's the term, not outsourced, when the job goes away forever. Anyway, yeah, or that some machine is going to take over for us. There are these things, but we still need craftsmen. Bottom line, we need the people who can do the things. And if somebody really loves, this morning I was sent a video of the there was a guy who in 1906 went to I didn't know this was going to be on the test, but he went to Central California. He was going to grow a citrus, and he bought a property that had this rock that wouldn't let citrus trees grow. So it was so hot, and air conditioning wasn't a thing in 1906. He started digging these caves and this whole city of caves under I have to look at the name of the city now because it was really neat. And it was this guy by himself did this remarkable thing because he enjoyed doing it. He would work all day as a laborer, and then at night he would dig deep into the soil to build these really interesting cave systems. He built I think it was an 80-acre cave system and they had patios, they had kitchen rooms, just very luxurious. It was Really cool. Sorry, I'm a little scattered on
He
this
built
texting that
he built these in the caves.
he created these caves, these networks of underground, this underground city under, I got to get the name of the city. He did that in 1906 by himself, and he let's see, land was barren, underground village, orchard. Yeah, they don't give me the name of it yet here. Sorry, I really have to find the name of that city for you guys. I just never go there, so I don't think of it. Fresno, California.
Okay.
Fresno,
Fresno.
California. And yeah, they, with no budget, he was a Sicilian immigrant who moved there, and out of the need for someplace cool, he, you know, in Rome and Greece, in Italy, there are cave systems. There are where people live. You know, they've dug into the ground, created lovely spaces for themselves, and it's to avoid the heat of the day in the summertime. So the reminder is, one person can do a lot. One person can change the world. One person can, you know, if we're following our dream, we have the energy and the resources to do this. He had very little money. He grew so much citrus that he was able to sell it and support himself with it. And all just because he had the dream of doing it, and in a place where it was considered impossible to do it. That's the nice thing about the Capricorn energy. It doesn't see impossible. We have that little goat climbing the side of a rock cliff, a mountain, and it looks for the path through impossible. Looks for the path through impossible, and it gets there. You know, it is, of course, built for it, and which is a fine lesson for all of us. You know, let's hear the word impossible. That's impossible. And then look for a path through it. You know, we can have this energy of Cancer, which the symbol of Cancer sometimes wants us to hide and move back into our safe place, and it might not be a supportive place, but it's usually what we perceive as our safe place. But it's pointing towards this Capricorn energy, which says, let's grow up, let's look for the path through impossible. Look for, you know, a lot of times you're a lot safer in the impossible than you are in something that everybody's already done, because they've already figured out how to overtake you in the process, you know. But if I'm trying to climb that rock face, and I'm usually going to get out of, if I'm a little mountain goat, I'm going to get out of the way of the danger. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say for that.
Well, may I?
Absolutely.
So a Capricorn moon is all about emotional stability, financial stability, and looking at one's potential. And so with the Capricorn moon, it's all about reflecting on or thinking about those things we said we desired and required, and to stop putting them off. Capricorn is hard work and determination, and seeing one's intentions or determinations through. And that's what this is about right now. It's about, okay, what did I say I was going to do that I haven't done? That's feasible.
Yeah.
Like, what am I just putting off because this, or this? You know, when we Cancers like to hide, and we like to think a lot, and we like to mull over things and check out our emotions on every certain thing. Well, it's time now on the Capricorn moon to put all that aside and let all that go, and go more on doing than feeling.
Right.
It's about putting our feelings aside and the moodiness and all that stuff, and just doing it. It's just now getting things done, because come fall, we're going to want to start hibernating a little bit, and then we're going to go into winter, and then we're going to really hibernate. You know, those of us with seasons, with 4 seasons, have a tendency to do that. That'll be the time of, what do? We go into our little individual cave and we store our energy, we hoard our food, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
true.
now is the time, this time of year, especially with the Capricorn moon, it's all about just getting the things done, getting stuff done.
Yeah.
Whether it means, it could be anything. It could be, I wrote some things down. It's letting go of what's preventing our growth, whether it's letting go of a person, it's letting go of a relationship, it's letting go of habits, it's letting go of anything we held on to maybe through winter, and just you know, whether it's cleaning out the garage or it's finishing a project we've been working on and didn't finish, and we said we were gonna, you know, it's that kind of stuff. It's putting off ending a really unhealthy friendship or romantic relationship, or even looking for new work, or maybe even changing careers.
You know, it's an interesting thing. I mean, July is a very interesting month. July and August are two very interesting months. July, interestingly enough, is a time where a lot of people begin to think, we're more than halfway through the year at this point. Have I accomplished my goals, my resolutions, the things that I set out to do this year? And some people are either resting on their laurels that they have done those things, or they are reflecting on the fact that perhaps I have not lived up to my own potential at this point in the year. Then we go into August, and I mean, even in Paris, everything shuts down for the month of August. A lot of people go away, businesses shut down, everything shuts down, and it's a retreat, I think, for people just to get away from it all and to go into their own little worlds. I think that this is a good time for all of us to take this moment, and and also, when we think about this full moon, and there's so many elements to this full moon. This is also a supermoon, and it's closer to the Earth normally than the moon is. And I don't know what it is with the two of you, but it was absolutely stunning last night. And because of and again, I don't know if you are affected by this, but here in New York, we are being affected by the fires in Canada. And that's creating this incredible, eerie, it's almost like something out of a horror movie from the 1930s. There's this, the church across the street from where I live, it was coming over the top of the church last night. Wow. And it was like something out of an incredible movie or something. Hollywood couldn't do a better job.
I don't know. Moonstruck is one of my favorite films. So
mine too.
Moonstruck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have 5 or 6 supermoons every year. We have several supermoons annually, and it's called a supermoon because it's 7% large. It appears 7% larger than it normally is because it's closer to us. And don't you know that's affecting the water, the ocean tides, the seas and the oceans. It's affecting people's emotions. It affects the way people drive. So I'm, ran a bunch of errands today, and I just don't plan on going out of this house for 2 days.
Right.
I may just hide for 2 days. And interestingly, the buck moon, every moon has colors. I don't know if you know this.
Yes.
And this moon has the colors of, it's an earth moon. It's an earth sign, Capricorn. So it's all about eating things that grow through the earth, not on trees. So anything that comes up through the earth, it's all about eating those things. And also, the colors are gold and yellow and blue. Gold and yellow for earth, and blue and green, and that's for water. That's for summer. That's for water time. And I wrote all this down. I had a divine moment about an hour ago. It's all about combining the water of Cancer and the earth of Capricorn. So right now we're combining both. And it's about finding the balance between the emotional and the stable. Finding a stability in your emotions and your thought processes, and you're actually taking physical action towards some things.
Right.
Now, here in New York, it was 7:35 a.m. when it was the full moon. I think for you, Erron, it was 4:05 around that time when it happened.
4:30. 4:35.
And for you, Kassira, I think it was around. Let's see, it was
6:38.
30.
30, yeah.
I mean, were you awake? Do you recall any dreams or anything you were
I did not, I did not sleep well last night. It took me, I was laying there with my eyes wide open, and I did not sleep well last night at all. And I woke up uncharacteristically early for me, which means I woke up a little after 7, which is early for me. And I was like, oh, well, I might as well just get up. I'm not going to fight it anymore. But yeah, I woke up not even an hour once it hit. So I was a little restless last night. Just wide awake. And oddly, and I was thinking about a lot. I was thinking, it's funny. I don't know what, I just started thinking, and it started like 2 or 3 days ago, I think. I started thinking about how I affect other people. How am I affecting other people? How do I affect other people? And I went through some memories of some, experiences with other people. And also, I noticed that recently I had some expectations of a handful of people, and I caught myself as well. So reflecting. This is a time of reflection. This moon is about reflecting on some things. That thing that I said I was going to do that I haven't done, do I really desire to do that? Maybe I just thought I should do that. Maybe I don't really desire to do that. Remember that thing I said I required and I haven't manifested it yet? Maybe I don't really require it. Maybe I just think I do, but I really don't. It's not a requirement.
Right.
And
Can I
that
ask you a question about your
that goes along with
reflection?
relationships as well. Yes, sir.
I want to ask you a question about your reflection. Do you remember how far back it went? Did it take you into childhood?
I remember. I have the memory of an elephant. I remember. But then somebody will say, "Remember when blah blah blah?" And I'll go, "No, I don't remember that." So it must not have meant a whole lot to me.
Right.
I remember a lot. No, I don't. I really, most of my reflection is really in adulthood.
Okay. All right.
It's really in adulthood. I know for a fact as a child, I did the best I could under the circumstances. It's an adult time. I ask myself, did I do the best I could with that? Or did I do the best I could with them or him or her? Or am I doing the best I can right now? I mean, I like to say that we all are doing the best we can, as far as we can.
I saw a play on Friday afternoon, and it's a memory play, and it takes place in 1973, and the young woman at the beginning of the play she's introducing her family. And as she's introducing each of the family, they come to life and they start to live out the story that we're about to hear. And one of the things that she said that I thought was very interesting was that as time goes on, these stories that we tell, they become more and more embellished as the years go on. And
I talk about that.
And we keep adding layers to these stories. And then, well, don't you remember when such and such a thing happened? And then somebody will say, and then this happened, and then that happened. And then it gets more and more the stories become more and more interesting, but they become more and more interesting because they're further and further away from what really happened. So that was very interesting. You both just disappeared for a moment. Did you see that?
We see that you're kind of cutting in and out, not the audio, but just the visual. There's these thunderstorms.
It's happening all around because there are thunderstorms all around the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
We are sunny. We are sunny and warm. It was it was in the 80s yesterday morning, which was like I fainted. I was like, what? Because it's as you know, it gets really hot here.
You fainted?
I was that was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
I said I fainted because it was 80 and it wasn't 100.
Right.
But yet it gets very hot here. The heat index is astronomical sometimes here. You asked me if what was going on here. Texans, I mean, everybody complains about the heat all the time, yet I don't know why we do it, because Texas has been hot since the beginning of time, probably. And it's this hot every summer. Just the heat index seems to be getting a little higher. And I think last night, the power went out for a split second, but it was enough to make the clocks blink, on the microwave and in the oven and stuff. And I think that they are, because Texas, up until now, in the past, we've had power outages in the summer. Everybody knows about Texas and the whole energy grid. Mm-hmm. And which we won't go into the whole political aspects of that. However, I think that our state has been doing energy rollovers to conserve. And I think we had a rollover last night that turned everything off. And which I said, oh, that was a rollover. Isn't that interesting that we had a rollover during the coming of the full moon? That's interesting that we had this little rollover, but it was long. It was very short, but it was long enough to turn the clocks off.
Right. Yeah.
So like stop clock, which I thought was interesting.
Do we want to acknowledge our guests?
I can't see the chat on my phone, so I'm your mercy.
Okay. Let's see. Lots of birthday wishes to Kassira.
Oh, thank you, everybody.
Yeah. And let's see. Oh, and I see Richard popped out there for a second. He's in the cloud. The lightning, yeah.
Let me turn the chat on for a minute. I don't know if you can see me.
Yeah, we can still see you. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Hi, Pam. Hi, Pam.
Hey there, Pam.
Hey.
Let's see.
Oh, I can see Pam.
Sherry and.
Oh, here we
Christine.
Go. Hi, Dee. Alan. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Does anybody want to
weigh in on this full moon?
Pam jumping in here. Yeah. Do you have any ideas about the moon? How are you feeling?
I know you have something to say about the moon.
Oops. Let's see. Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, I think she had an appointment. I think she had to go. Okay. Thank you for the birthday wishes, Pam. I appreciate that. A lot of people are on holiday.
Yeah.
Holiday.
That's right. Yeah. And it's a good time. One of the main things about right now, and it seems I'm by myself, but one of the things is the attention to self-care. I mean, real self-care, looking at what really matters to our own emotional and physical and spiritual care, and really being realistic. Am I caring for myself by eating a giant cupcake, or would I do better by having some scrambled eggs and or something like that? Am I caring for myself by going out and having a champagne brunch? Now that might be physically, there might be some benefit to that because if you're with friends, or would I be better off finding a really beautiful tree to sit under, even with some friends? We did that on Saturday. We went up to Big Bear and found a beautiful tree and just sat under it. It was amazing. We grounded ourselves. We really embodied that whole self-care. We brought a whole bunch of really juicy fruit because during super full moon, you want to hydrate yourself a lot. So we had this really
Oh,
juicy watermelon, really juicy strawberries, really juicy, just a whole bunch of really liquidy. And they brought some beer. Nobody wanted the beer. It was very interesting. Nobody wanted the alcohol. They wanted that we all connected with the earth. We were sitting by a beautiful lake. We were sitting under a beautiful tree. I mean, it was idyllic, like you wouldn't believe. The kids were
Erron,
liking it.
if you offered me a choice between scrambled eggs and a cupcake, I would definitely take the cupcake. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If that's your self-care, then.
And it's sugar cookie. We had sugar cookie day at some point, didn't we, Richard?
Yeah.
Richard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't hear a word you're saying.
What?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I had lost connection.
It is so wonky here. I do not know what's going on. I'm just, this is like a light show going on.
Yeah.
You disappear.
Uh-oh, there he goes. I love Pam taking pictures of the moon.
He's having issues. He's having issues.
Yeah.
Some big
and
issues.
Pam, maybe taking pictures of the moon might be a spiritual quest for you, because you have to find the right place to do that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, look, there's a moon. There's no Richard, but there's a moon. Richard's mooning us.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have any cards you want to pull, Erron?
You know, I was in such a I don't. Let me see.
Richard, can you hear us now?
I can.
Do you have a card you want to pull?
Hold on, let me pull something. I'm gonna pull
I'll have to randomly.
Okay. I'm gonna do.
Speaking of water,
there we go.
I'm drinking my. This is the plug for Crazy Water from Mineral Wells, Texas.
Okay.
We have they actually distribute this water. It's called Crazy Water. It comes in 4 different strengths. I'm drinking the number 3. 4 is the highest, with the highest quantity of all kinds of stuff, all kinds of minerals and the alkalinity and all that stuff. I'm drinking number 3 right now.
Oh, good.
Nice.
So I pulled 3 cards. I pulled a tarot card, and I'm pulling a moon card, and I'm pulling another one of another moon card. So the tarot.
I'm gonna go. Hang on a minute. I'm gonna go grab the Crazy Water bottle so I can show you guys while I'm.
Okay.
So I can plug Texas.
So this is the card that I pulled. Can you see? Can you see
it's
this?
kind of washing out there. Tilted away. Tilted. Yeah, there's a lot of light on it, so it's a little hard to see. Which one is that?
It's the 5 of Swords.
Okay.
Do you know what that means if you pull that card?
So Swords is activity. The 5 is. Sometimes I have to look those up. Let's see if somebody in the chat knows right away.
So, okay, that's and since that's the first card I pulled, it's in my past. So my present card is have faith in your dreams.
Oh,
and my
okay.
card is take a breather.
All very, these cards they reflect exactly what we've been talking about. It's let's self-care, take care of the rest. The things will take care of themselves. There are things that are in emotion that take care of themselves. We can be aware of the things that don't support and that move us away. And we don't have to criticize, judge, or dismiss, or delete, or anything like that. That's part of the creation of all. However, we look at ourselves and say, wait a minute, I'm also an active participant of this creation. So what energy do I put towards that? Let's let them do their thing, move on. If they're hurting somebody, yes, let's get somebody in there to help, to not hurt them. We see a lot of that around the earth. People think it's okay to hurt other people. And, we don't have to go into the news headlines for that. We see it in our neighborhoods, but it's a good idea to know that that's happening so that we know that our beneficial energy, when we express it, helps too. It clears that out. Let's see here. Now, I found something interesting. There's a crystal that is designed is advised for the buck moon, and it is a yellow jasper. Now, jasper is a mothering stone. It's very Cancerian mothering stone, and I have this big piece of jasper at my office. Everybody comes and hugs it. It's amazing, and it's just a giant big rock. But the yellow jasper is very vibrant, and it's known to enhance the feeling of completeness. So we want that wholeness, that and that's really what I'm feeling right now. It's a feeling of completeness. It's like, okay, we don't need to add too much to this. You know, when we had the watermelon, we did not need to add anything to it. It was perfect as it was. When we had sat under the tree, we didn't need to add anything to it. The only thing we added was ourselves into the environment. We opened our hearts, we opened our minds, our perceptions, and everybody was kind of laying or sitting or whatever in different directions. And somebody would say, wow, the light is reflecting off the lake so beautifully. And then the next person would say, oh, look at the tree, how it's coming to life. And then somebody would say, oh, look at the kids playing. I mean, it was totally different, and it added up to this amazing picture. And that's just from inserting ourselves into what already is, the beauty that already is, and experiencing it. Kassira's back.
It's funny you should say you didn't have to add anything to the watermelon. Mm-hmm. Because here in Texas, a lot of people put salt on their watermelon.
Oh.
Well, they do that. No, they do that in the South. I mean,
in the South, people. I never liked salt on my watermelon. I'm like, what's the point of eating a watermelon if you're going to salt it up? It doesn't make
right.
It's funny that you say. I grew up with people putting salt on their watermelon, and then the other thing, if you've ever seen the movie Crimes of the Heart, there's a moment at the very beginning of the movie where she's drinking a Pepsi Cola, and she puts peanuts in the Pepsi. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's in the movie. Go and watch it.
What movie?
Crimes of the Heart.
Oh. And
I went to see the movie with a friend, and she said, what is she doing? And I said, that's a very big thing in the South.
I never had peanuts in a Pepsi. Sorry. However, I did grow up with Big Red and moon pies.
Me too.
Big Red and moon pies. And also down here, the real Southern people eat pickles and Kool-Aid. Pickles with Kool-Aid. Have you ever had pickles and Kool-Aid?
No.
Cherry Kool-Aid, and you dip your pickle in it.
Oh my God!
And I think there's someone that actually manufactures a cherry Kool-Aid dipped pickle in a package.
Wow.
Oh, well, hey, all regions have their weird foods. You think that's weird? Go to Canada and eat. Okay, I'm a shameless plug for Crazy Water.
Oh, there it is.
From Mineral Wells, Texas. You can order cases of it online. It's fabulous.
But is it filled with minerals that are?
Yes, darling. Well, this is number 3, and let me tell you there's trace minerals, low, medium, and high. This is number 3, and 4 is the highest. But let me read it to you. Calcium. This is in milligrams. Calcium, potassium, bicarbonate, silica, lithium, magnesium, sulfate, a pH between 7.3 and 8, zinc 0.05, and alkalinity of 335. My father, who is a cancer survivor, has to do a no salt diet, and he has to eat healthily. He eats well, but he eats healthy, and he has to have a certain alkalinity level in his diet and his water. I don't know what he drinks, but this is, you guys, crazy water. Crazy water from Mineral Wells. Look it up. Okay. It's the best. It's the bomb. And especially in the summer, I have a tendency, and all my friends that are dancers or performers, we have all over the years had cramping at night and our tummy muscles and our legs. Yeah. And if you drink a water that's high in minerals, it will actually prevent all that cramping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Shameless plug. I should be the poster girl for crazy water. Which here in Dallas, we can get them at several stores. They're at Central Market, HEB. If you have an HEB where you live, the HEB may have it. Natural grocers carry that, although they're very expensive. They charge a lot. some Albertson stores around the country sell it, but you can actually order it from the company. And it's not that, it's like $2 a bottle or something. It's not that bad. Anyway, shameless plug. What card did you pick, Mr. Richard?
I did that. I pulled 3 cards. I pulled the 5 of Swords in my tarot card. That's
5 of Thorns.
Yes. Can you explain that?
Thorns or staff?
Swords.
Swords. Okay.
Yes.
Past, interesting.
And, for my present, have faith in your dreams. And
Interesting.
And for my future, take a breather.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, reflecting is taking a breather.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And also taking things slow. That's also one of the big lessons right now during the Capricorn moon. Is like, if you decide you'd like to continue forward and finish a project, if you're actually going to manifest what you say you desire and require, take it in small steps. But also, I see you talked about August. For me, August is the take a breath month. Because this is not Europe where we get to take, a month of holiday. Everyone in Europe goes on holiday in the summer month. We don't. We go on holiday when the bosses say we can, or, unless we're, whatever, not working for someone else, so we can make our own schedule. Here in America, to me, August, we get like a 2-week breather until school starts again. And it's, for me, August is a transitional month. Growing up, I don't know if you remember, but back in the 1400s when I was in school, we didn't go back to school until September. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, kids go back in August.
That's right.
Right.
And so the summers are actually shorter now than we used to have. We used to have, 3 months off or something? It was awesome. And whether we have children or not, kids are going to school, it affects all of us. It affects traffic. In New York, it affects sidewalk traffic. It affects here in Dallas during the school months. We have school zones all over Dallas. So to and fro, before school and after school, there are school zones everywhere. There's kids walking everywhere. There's parents walking their kids everywhere. It's a big city. And it affects me. It affects everybody, the school year. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's a transitional month. But I do feel there's like a breather right before school starts again. Because we're all gearing up for those school zones. Mm-hmm. And the traffic, the school traffic.
Do you, Erron and Kassira, do you still feel, even though it's been quite some time since we have all graduated from high school and been out of school, do you still feel in the fall that feeling of school starting again? I do too. Yeah.
I don't. Not anymore.
You know?
Because I think primarily because I don't live. If I lived in Arizona, I might, because the weather would trigger it. But I live in California, which has in Los Angeles specifically, which has a much different weather system. And so I can't judge when, the seasonal changes. Even now, it's difficult for me. Had I not gone to Big Bear, I would not know that any place beyond East LA is hot, just because it's been so comfortable and cool. And I see it in the news, but I'm like, oh, wait, is it that time of the year? Oh, yeah, it's July. So it's triggered by weather for me. And there was a time when I could smell the difference in the air, feel the difference in the temperature. There was a school feeling, and I just don't feel that out here for me. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I feel it because, we're surrounded by school here. Mm-hmm. We're surrounded. We definitely know when school starts, and we definitely know when parents are out shopping for supplies and new clothes, and there's definitely a difference. And when the school year
grew up in the South, and I grew up in Conway, South Carolina, is the gateway to Myrtle Beach. And I grew up truly, with either farm kids, because I grew up on a tobacco farm in South Carolina, or kids were working in the amusement parks, which were very seasonal, from Labor Day, from essentially Memorial Day to Labor Day. And so there's a great song in the musical Grey Gardens called "Another Winter in a Summer Town." I don't know if you know the song. If you don't know it, listen to it. And because that really encapsulates what it's like to live in a resort area or any area that where everything, that takes place, of course, in the Hamptons, which of course is very seasonal. And that feeling of everyone going away, at the end of that. And there's a melancholy feeling that I always get every year at Labor Day. And it still affects me every year. That just comes over me. That do you feel it?
Yes. In fact, you know what? I still feel excited when school's out. I feel excited for everybody else. The last day of school was like a holiday for me. It was like Christmas Eve, because I got to fart around when I was a kid, a little kid. All I did was play outside and go back in the air conditioning and take a nap and, go to a pool somewhere. And, it was so great, Right. And then when school was about to start, it was agonizing. I did not ever want to go back to school. Until I got into high school, because I was so involved with the music program. I couldn't wait to get back to school for the music. That's the only thing I was looking forward to. Everything else could go suck it. I didn't want to, all that other stuff just did not excite me. But I was excited about the music. And I was excited to see my, some friends again. Yeah, I still feel it, Richard. That's so funny. I love it that we have that in common.
Yeah.
We only have a few minutes left. Do we want to meditate for a few minutes, or what do you want to do?
If we can do a quick meditation, I have a 5 o'clock meeting this afternoon, and so I have to prep for that. But I also want you two to stay on as soon as we end.
Okay.
Because the powers that be, the planets, the sun, the moon, Saturn is in retrograde still. All these things are going crazy. This show today was very, very wonky. Erron, Kassira, myself, we were going in and out. This show, thank you all for being here. This show will not be saved because it's not going to go on to be saved onto a podcast or anything, because people will just go crazy trying to wade through it. So
to wade through it?
Well, because the sound was going in and out.
Oh, well, not on my end and not on his end.
It wasn't?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, well,
we saw you blinking in and out.
Just you, Richard. Just you.
Okay, well, then I'll save it. So
please do, because this was a good show. I enjoyed it.
It'll be archived. So let's do our meditation, and then I'd like the two of you to stick around.
Okay, all righty.
I'll speak to you afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks to all our guests. And,
bye, everybody. Okay.
Everyone who's listening, we want to center, open our hearts. We're going to take a deep breath. And as we take a deep breath, imagine your favorite flower opening as we breathe. So breathe in deeply. And exhale. We're going to do the same thing again. So breathe in deeply. And we're going to slowly exhale. We still see that beautiful flower opening. And once again, see the light on this flower as it opens, like a spotlight on it. Bring it out all the beautiful bright colors. And inhale. Now we can see this beautiful light shining on this beautiful petal, all the beautiful petals. They can be any color that you want, any color that you can imagine. Beautiful velvety purple leaves, rich silky reds, the happiest yellows we've ever seen. We can see this light illuminating all of the patterns. And inhale deeply and see this flower even more brilliant than before. Nothing but you and your beautiful flower. That's all that we have to see right now. As it opens, we can smell the beautiful fragrance that it produces. In your mind, remember the beautiful fragrance that is produced by this beautiful flower. And this flower is well lit, well nourished, supported, and it's in your spotlight. It is in the spotlight, the only one that matters, yours, right here and right now. Just experience this as our time ends on the show today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Erron.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Happy 4th of July.
Happy
Fourth.
Independence
Happy Independence Day. Don't forget, let go of what's preventing your growth.
Yes.
What doesn't support your independence, let it go.
Amen.